Hello everybody and welcome to Papillon. It's a gorgeous day today. We've just had 7 days really of very strong wind, and as you can see they are still pulling trees down, like to pull that one down. So I'm heading up to the old gifting site of Moon Moth. It's going to take about an hour from here, so I'll catch up with you then. Some things become visible that you hadn't seen before. This is a piece of the rock. Now, have a look at that. Ooh. Have a look at that. What do you think of that? That would have been hidden underneath the roots of these trees, and the moss has just come right off it. But isn't that interesting? That should be right on the front of this rock. Purely coincidence, might I add, but interesting nonetheless. Now I have just fallen quite literally to below my knees. If you could smell the scent from this pine, it's wet, it's got dewdrops on it, but when I just brushed past that to show you that, the smell, the aroma, is just gorgeous, beautiful pine. So for those of you who don't get out so often into this part of the forest, you'll have to try and imagine what that smells like. Maybe if you have some essential oils you could put somewhere, and you'll get the heavy scent of pine. Okay, so this is Seo's area, and pretty much nothing has changed here. What I would say is that we have had, since last week, continual days of wind and extremely heavy rain, and it has brought a lot more trees down. Now that's interesting. That is interesting shape. So I'm wondering if I can get through. This is the way you remember before last November. This is the direction that I headed up into Moon Moth, and you may just be able to see that is the remainder of Moon Moth up there. And my concern is that I did manage to get in there, I think it was at the start of December. It was very dangerous, and my concern is that that has not really altered very much. It might have got worse. All right, I'll head up there. Well, here is our entrance point, and our stone is still here. That's quite interesting. I think this has been turned around. I have a feeling this stone was lying on its side last time I saw it, but hey ho. We'll make an entrance in. Now, I'm going to have to be really, really careful what I do here. So I need to be very careful what I do in here, because we have got, you can see up there, lots of leaning trees still. My key is to try and locate what we call the mother tree. So we've hardly set foot inside and... Oh, hello. I don't think these have changed. So it's trying to find a path through. I think I have to stick to the left. So I would normally have come in and gone in slightly this direction, then work my way up the hill. But looking at the obstacles, I think I'm going to have to come to the left. This is the area directly ahead where the mother tree was. And I believe that she, if it's a she, is lying right underneath all of that mass. I'm pretty sure that forces of energy, not forces of good, shall we say, certainly not forces of good, have made damn sure that tree has been eradicated. And the energy that is attached to it, well, tough. All I can say is tough. Light always wins over dark. It does. I wonder if there's another way around this. Just doesn't look like there's another way in to get to those trees. I'd have to go up through here. Look at the mass of trees that are down here. So I'm guessing one of these big long trees here on the ground here is the mother tree. Has to be in this area, and we're looking at the top of it here. If I can have a bit wander around. Oh, hello. What have we got here? Wagon wheels. Oh dear. Need to pick all this stuff up. That's from last year. Gifting that we did last year in this area. How interesting. Look at that. Yet again. Look at that. Interesting, isn't it? I'm looking to see if there's any obvious bend in trees that have fallen, but there isn't. So my guess is that I'll run with that ball, Audrey, because I think you're on the money there. I believe you're right. I think it is targeted, because the worst damage here is the place of most importance here. But it hasn't really worked, has it? Because we can have all sorts of other places that we can choose to gift in. As people say, we can be anywhere. And I believe that's true. Well, this must have been here, but I don't actually remember this. But then again, my entrance would usually be further across that way. Right. Okay. A lot further over that way, actually. I'm looking over here. So how do you know which is their work and which is the work of something else, somebody else doing it? For example, the wind has blown this tree down. You see all the root base still attached and the tree here. Now their handiwork looks like this. See? So there's one there that leads up to this one here. You see it diagonally going across. And then from those two over there, they're attached to this here. That's taller than me. That break, I'm 5'8", I think that's about 6'5", and that goes up there. So nothing else is landed on that to bring that tree down to snap it. There's no debris around to show that. So that's their handiwork. Whereas this is the work of nature. So that's how we can distinguish it. So here, this is about 6 foot pole, just stuck in the ground. There isn't any bark on it, but it doesn't belong there. I'll just prove that to you. Oops, out it comes. Are there any roots attached? No. So last time I spoke to a Fenian, I understood that they had been in to repurpose stuff. I think deactivate was a word she used, to deactivate. Now I believe the mother tree, somewhere up here, I'm going to have to be careful, I'm not going to walk through this area. She says, walking through it. What I should say today is I am really struggling. I can't get anything right at the moment. And I just have a feeling that the energy to me feels all wrong. All absolutely wrong. Now, Audrey commented on the storm. Very interesting words she said was, it seems as though where the storm has hit, the areas where it hit, I mean this was a year ago, it was the end of November last year, and what she is saying, where the storms hit seems to be where we have this activity, like a direct hit, seeking them out like a direct hit. And I would have to agree with you, Audrey. It's very strange, but I agree with you. This mess in front of us, I believe, is roughly where the mother tree is. Right under there. And look how buggered that is. It's not good. So Audrey, there's something about that. I believe that you're right on this. It feels right to me. It feels absolutely right. So is that darkness trying to eradicate light? Bloody hell. Okay. Now you want to see how powerful that storm was. That tree there has about diameter of 18 inches. Right? Look at that. An 18-inch diameter tree just snapped. Matchsticks. It's just like matchsticks. Okay, I have to have a little think how I'm going to get around this. I think I have to go over here. So here are the naturally fallen trees. Pointless stickery. These are not natural. These have been with a little help from our friends. Now this could be mildly entertaining, trying to get through here. Put your fingers in your ears, you might hear words that you live to regret. Oh dear, I'm just going to make a little pass. So we're nearing the brow of the hill. My path up here was normally right in the middle of all these trees here. Right in the middle of them. Now we're almost at the top of the hill already. Hello. I don't see much in the way of glyphs up here. So I believe our gifting area is right here. And you know where all the mess is? Where all the worst damage up here. Let me do a 360. So that's relatively clear, isn't it? Do you like the shadows? If you are an artist, you might like the shadows on there. So this area, slightly clear. Where I'm standing, slightly clear. Then this is a mess in the middle. I'm not saying this area is clear, but this little space in front of us is clear. That is a mess. But this bit in the middle, here we go again, Audrey. This is where the most damage is. And this is where we had our gifting area. What I'm trying to see is a way in. We're on the slope here, so our gifting area is there. Isn't it funny how you become quite disoriented because your usual markers that you have gone. This is not a good place to lose your footing, if you have any footing in the first place. So these trees here should be protected by everything at the back here. New. That is new. That's interesting. So these two parallels are probably around 5 feet long. This one here follow it across. That's about 9 feet. And then it goes wandering up the tree. Gonna come back to that, I think. Well, we're in the right place. That's one of the trees we hung our things on, all our gifts, because you can see, oops, got caught up, because you can see the bags. They've been there a year, and below all of that, there it is. I can't get to that, it's the other side of that tree. And yet again, the most disruption in this part is where we were gifting, where the family was. So somebody objects to that, I would think. That is interesting, isn't it, that in this particular forest, and I mean it's a huge swathe of the country, around about 200 mile, over 200 miles, 250 mile trail of destruction. That the storm left. And it strikes me that somebody wanted to prevent our communications, or maybe put an end to it. So this is very, if we go by Fothark, it's like a shape of an N. Which could be Hagalaz, which is of the air. And as it's from the elements, you have to wonder, what do you think? More recognisable stuff here. So I just don't see any new activity in here, really. I think what we've seen here is what Athenian told us she would do, which was to rebalance and repurpose what was actually already here. So what this really shows me as well is that we were correct in the assumptions about the mother tree. That tree did have significance. It's completely wiped out. Completely. The area I really want to be in is where all those trees are, because that's where the mother tree is. That's the tree, I believe, that holds obviously energy of importance And I think it's a good 10 or 15 yards that way. But as you saw before, just can't locate it. It was on the hill down, so I will have a look a little bit further in. I'm just going to try and find an easier path through that doesn't involve the use of Anglo-Saxon. Just have to show you this. Just looking at this cone, planted upright. And this here. This looks like Hagalaz to me. If I put an overlay on there, you can see what I mean. Interesting, just as you come in. It's the second one of those we've seen. So I don't believe there's anything more in here. I think the damage has been done and they don't frequent it anymore. Right, let me get the drone up. So this over here was Theo's area. Oh bugger, persons, bloody hell. So behind me you'll see moon moth. That's in a diagonal direction. Directly behind me there is where we would go and leave the gifts originally. That was our first viewing point. And if I step around this way, you'll see behind me to my left, you're right, that area there, that was Theo's area. So the area in front of me, I'm just going to pick the camera around, there we go. This is across the track, this is on the other side of this track. They don't use this. They tell me they have no need for this, they don't use it, and I understand other beings may well do. Elemental, so it's probably got a more ethereal effect with it. So we'll plod on and make our way back, I think. And I'd say thanks very much, folks. Thank you for watching and sticking with it. It's a bit of a long day trailing around through all of this forest, and it's amazing how it has altered. But there's no point really in coming back into this area. Apart from it's dangerous, there's nothing really going on here. Nothing has changed, nothing has altered. So with that, we'll love you and leave you, and take good care, and we'll see you next week. Bye.